Hello! I realize I should probably be drunk when I'm doing this. However, I am not. Yet. I'm going to try this again once I finish up this first video. But I figured this time what I would do is I would try it sober, and then we could compare the two experiences and see how it goes. So, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to read this book. I'm going to read this book. I'm going to read it aloud, and I hope it's a lot of fun. Now, I realize that this has been done, and this has been done better by other people, and I think it's fantastic. I think it's a great idea to read this out loud because reading out loud really shows you how really cool or really idiotic things can be. So this is what I'm going to do. First of all, let's start with the contents. Contents. Oh, book one. Oh, how interesting. Okay, sorry, getting ahead of myself. So let's start with the dedication. This book is dedicated to my ninja/agent Jody Reamer. Thank you for keeping me off the ledge. And thanks also to my favorite band, the very aptly named Muse, for providing a saga's worth of inspiration. Thank you, Muse, for inspiring Twilight. I'll stick to listening to your albums. Breaking Dawn, Book 1, Bella. We love Bella. There's a quote to open up the book. Childhood is not from birth to a certain age, and at a certain age the child is grown and puts away childish things. Childhood is the kingdom where nobody dies. Edna St. Vincent Millay. I'm going to have to Google this and check it out later. Preface. I'd had more than my fair share of near-death experiences. It wasn't something you ever really got used to. It seemed oddly inevitable, though, facing death again, like I really was marked for disaster. I'd escaped time and time again, but it kept coming back for me. Still, this time was so different from the others. You could run from someone you feared. You could try to fight someone you hated. All my reactions were geared toward those kinds of killers, the monsters, the enemies. When you loved the one... Sorry. When you loved the one who was killing you... Oh, I'm going to have so much fun with this when I'm drunk. When you loved the one who was killing you, it left you no options. How could you run? How could you fight when doing so would hurt that beloved one? If your life was all you had to give your beloved, how could you not give it if it was someone you truly love? Chapter 1. Engaged. No one is staring at you, I promised myself. No one is staring at you. No one is staring at you. But, because I couldn't lie convincingly, even to myself, I had to check. As I sat waiting for one of the 3 traffic lights in town to turn green, I peeked to the right. In her minivan, Mrs. Weber had turned her whole torso in my direction. So driving her whole torso. So, entire torso. Because Bella is that damn interesting. Mrs. Weber turned her whole torso in my direction. Her eyes bored into mine, and I flinched back, wondering why she didn't drop her gaze or look ashamed. It was still considered rude to stare at people, wasn't it? Didn't that apply to me anymore? Then I remembered that these windows were so darkly tinted that she probably had no idea if it was even me in here, let alone that I'd caught her looking. I tried to take some comfort in the fact that she wasn't really staring at me, just the car. My car. Sigh. This is gonna take a while. I'm on page 4, and I've already just stopped. A sigh is a sound effect. You you don't write it out as a word. Like it's like I'm going. I really like this girl. Sigh. I sighed. You can indicate that somebody is sighing. You can make that sound effect. But when you're narrating your book, and you're narrating it, writing the word sigh is akin to saying the word itself out loud. I tried to take some comfort in the fact that she wasn't really staring at me, just the car. My car. Sigh. I glanced to the left and groaned. See, there she's indicating a sound effect. It would be as if she said, I glanced to the left. Groaned. 2 pedestrians were frozen on the sidewalk, missing their chance to cross as they stared. Behind them, Mr. Marshall was gawking through the plate glass window of his little souvenir shop. At least he didn't have his nose pressed up against the glass. Yet. The light turned green and, in my hurry to escape, I stomped on the gas pedal without thinking. The normal way I would have punched it to get my ancient Chevy truck moving. Engine snarling like a hunting panther, the car bleh. Now, this will only work if I can actually correctly read out loud. Engine snarling like a hunting panther, the car jolted forward so fast that my body slammed into the black leather seat and my stomach flattened against my spine. Arg! I gasped as I fumbled for the brake. Arg! I gasped as I fumbled for the brake. Keeping my head, I merely tapped the pedal. The car lurched to an absolute standstill anyway. I couldn't bear to look around at the reaction. If there had been any doubt as to who was driving this car before, it was gone now. With the toe of my shoe, I gently nudged the gas pedal down 1/2 millimeter, and the car shot forward again. I managed to reach my goal, the gas station. If I hadn't been running on vapors, I wouldn't have come into town at all. I was going without a lot of things these days, like Pop-Tarts and shoelaces to avoid spending time in public. Moving as if I were in a race, I got the hatch open, the cap off, the card scanned, and the nozzle in the tank within seconds. Of course, there was nothing I could do to make the numbers on the gauge pick up the pace. They ticked by sluggishly, almost as if they were doing it just to annoy me. It wasn't bright out, a typically drizzly day in Forks, Washington, but I still felt like a spotlight was trained on me, drawing attention to the delicate ring on my left hand. At times like this, sensing the eyes on my back, it felt as if the ring were pulsing like a neon sign. Look at me. Look at me. It was stupid to be so self-conscious, and I knew that. Besides my dad and mom, did it really matter what people were saying about my engagement, about my new car, about my mysterious acceptance into an Ivy League college, about the shiny black credit card that felt red hot in my back pocket right now? Yeah, who cares what they think, I muttered under my breath. Miss, a man's voice called. I turned, and then wished I hadn't. 2 men stood beside a fancy SUV with brand new kayaks tied to the top. Neither of them was looking at me. They were both staring at the car. Personally, I didn't get it. But then I found I was just proud that I could distinguish between the symbols for Toyota, Ford, and Shaw. Oh my God! Oh my God! But then I was just proud I could distinguish between the symbols for Toyota, Ford, and Chevy. This car was glossy black, sleek, and pretty, but it was still just a car to me. I've made it 5 pages. I'm going to try again drunk tomorrow, and I'm going to see how far I get. But this is your hero, ladies. It's just a car to me. I personally felt proud that I could distinguish between the symbols between Toyota, Ford, and Chevy. I'm a modern woman.